Hi, my name's Tony and I'm from the Sup Company, and today I'm going to walk you through the brand new Red Paddle Co 11.3 Sport. So here we are with the Red Paddle Co 11.3 Sport for 2022. And well, I say 2022, and the 11.3 Sport itself, the board itself, hasn't changed a huge amount. And to be honest with you, that's not a real surprise because the board's brilliant. It's such a good touring board. I think it's its fifth year in the Red Paddle Co lineup. I've got to be honest, I didn't really understand the board's position in the lineup first off, but very, very quickly, especially once you paddle the board, you start to really understand as to how good this board actually is. And there's a few factors that we'll run you through in just a moment as to why this board is so good as a touring shape and perhaps as a first board, interestingly. But really in 2022, the big changes that we've seen are the addition of the all-new ATB Transformer backpack. We've got a separate video on that gives you a really thorough overview, and that's just up here if you want to click on that and take a look. The other big change as well on the Red Paddle Co lineup for 2022 is the paddles. All of the paddles have been completely overhauled, and there's a separate video for that just up here. So look, the board itself, why is the 11.3 Sport so good? Well, let's start as we do in all of our videos from the nose down to the tail. And with the 11.3 Sport, its nose fills out very, very quickly to its overall width of 32 inches. Now, while it's very purposeful in its overall length, a bit of pointy, sometimes people refer to them as just pointy touring boards, it's that width that it fills out to so early on that makes it exceptionally stable underfoot. And you've got to bear in mind that a touring board such as this of 32 inches in width really puts it on par with popular boards in the Red Paddle Co lineup, such as the 10.6 Ride, which is really the first touch point for so many people out there. But the board is very, very stable. The nose of the board, yeah, feature rich. It's got Red Paddle Co's plastic-free carry handle there on the front with a really nice bit of Red Paddle Co detailing in terms of the embroidery. There's also an M6 by 10mm female threaded fitting on the front there that will take either, you know, the Red Paddle Co, for example, camera mount, a GoPro fitting, RAM, Railblazer, whatever else. So it's a really functional mount on the front of the board that you can use for far more than just a camera. A simple, overall, very clean aesthetic to the board. It just is eye-catching, a little bit conservative, but eye-catching without being overbearing. The straps of back in 2022, they replaced the original bungee type system, the crisscross system. I actually like the belts quite a bit, but the big thing I found with them, while they're fantastic for very large items, in 2021 they weren't so good for small ones. And credit to Red Paddle Co and credit where credit is due. They've picked up on this, lots of feedback from existing owners and also ourselves here at the Sup Company. And well, they've just made a very simple addition. This little stainless steel ring here really just means that small items, whether that be, you know, flip-flops or a water bottle, for example, sit under this area and just all of a sudden become much more secure, and they don't have to rely on the entire strap that can be a little bit easier to loosen over time. So a nice little touch of refinement on Red Paddle Co's part. The deck pad is really, really generous. It's something Red Paddle Co have increased in all of their boards over the years. And there is always good traction underfoot. And this Red Paddle Co repeater graphic that's embossed into all of their deck pads is very, very eye-catching. It's a nice touch and a credit to them in terms of attention to detail. But underfoot, it's really comfortable and it's quite an effective way of creating traction on the deck. This transitions though as you work your way towards the back end of the board with like a diamond cross-cut deck pad, which just improves traction yet again. But it does also just help you understand and orientate your footwork on the board. So as you start to really engage tail turns on the board and you start to improve your overall paddle technique, it just helps you very, very easily orientate where you are. To get the board to and from the water though, yeah, a really nice carry handle in the center of the board, very heavily padded, which means it's going to fit inside the palm of your hand really comfortably. So if your portage is quite some way away, then yeah, it's quite manageable and comfortable to get the board down to the water. There's also an additional handle on the tail there, and that integrates with a stainless steel D-ring, which is where you would attach your leash. I quite like how they've actually tied the valves into the deck pads now as well. It just cleans up the overall look of the board. And if you weren't aware that Red Paddle Co boards are inflatable, you'd probably have to double take it really to find the valve on the board. But look, let's take the board and roll it on over to its rail, because on the rail, you've got on all of the sport boards, the Voyagers, and then also the more performance orientated, slightly smaller shapes like the Whip and the 9/8 Ride, Red Paddle Co's patented RSS batten system, and that stands for rigid stiffening system. Now, it might seem like a bit of a gimmick, but I can assure you it is not. On this board at 4.75 inches thick, it makes a massive difference to the rigidity in terms of the overall standing area. I guess our one criticism that we get back really from customers and also ourselves when we inflate these and put them in our test center is they can at first be quite hard to insert into the pocket on the side of the board. Now that does get easier over time, but look, let's roll it up onto its rail fully so you can see the underside, and the underside is really clean. Red Paddle Co with their overall look and aesthetic just like to keep it clean. And the nice thing with it is it's very easy to maintain as well, really easy to wash down, and it's just a nice overall look. Red Paddle Co branding on the underside there. You can really see the overall width of the board now and just how quickly it fills out in that forward section. But the main standing area is 32 inches. That's where the widest part of the board is. And it tapers ever so slightly towards the tail, but not massively. So again, lots of stability on the tail. The fin box, color matched this year. Red Paddle Co's 9-inch touring fin in there. It's a nice rigid fin, hasn't got too much flex in it, and it just helps a lot with tracking and also overall lateral stability. And then really the final refinement in the board itself is Red Paddle Co's speed tail, and that's that hard edge that you see go round the tail edge of the board, and that just cleans up the overall water release a huge amount. And it means that the board just accelerates and maintains its top speed that little bit easier, and it's just a little bit more rewarding to paddle overall. So as a board in 2022, if you're out there looking for a premium quality, exceptionally well made, good, efficient, stable touring board, I would seriously take a look at the Red Paddle Co 11.3 Sport. I would also say that if this is your first board, don't be put off by the overall length. We often find that people coming to our test center, they'll gravitate towards, for example, a Red Paddle Co 10.6 Ride straight away, but often find themselves wanting that little bit more. They come to terms with the 10.6 Ride very quickly. It's an excellent all-rounder, and it is still Red Paddle Co's best-selling model by quite some way. But an 11.3 Sport just offers that little bit more in terms of glide and room for overall progression, particularly if you're paddling on flat inland waterways, and an all-rounder board really isn't something you're going to actually end up with overall and kind of grow out of to some extent. So don't rule out the 11.3 Sport if you're also a beginner. Thanks for watching our video. If you've got any questions about what you've seen, why not give us a call in the shop or head over to thesupco.com. If you want to check out our next video, well, take a look up here. But to subscribe and get notifications on all of our new content, well, click the button up here.